You know, what a lot of people don't understand is when they meet you, they're unbelievably charming. Like more charming than you could ever imagine a man could possibly be. I opened my doors, took care of everything for me at work before I could walk in the door. I mean, he came across almost angelic. It was crazy. My marriage was very extreme, and so when the abuse took place, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't to smack across the face or just yelling and screaming. It was torture. It was torment. And so I had originally left my husband after the second time that he beat me black and blue and had me bleeding. The only reason that I actually went back, and you'll discover most domestic people go back a few times, but the only reason I went back was because I found out I was pregnant. You get so torn down and so beaten up, you don't believe anything else is ever going to be an outcome for you. You get to the point where you're convinced that you need them. And so when I went to the shelter, it wasn't for me. I didn't leave for me. I left for my daughter. It had nothing to do with me. When I picked up the phone and called them for help, I didn't play a role. I didn't deserve to play a role. It was about her. My daughter deserved to have an incredible life, and if I had to go through hell and back to make sure she could get it, that's what I would do. For me, the only programs that I used was the Calgary Emergency Women's Shelter, obviously the Sheriff King Home, the Sunshine Center, and Children's Cottage, right? I mean, those were the only avenues that I required. By the time I got out of the shelter, I had learned everything I needed to learn to break the cycle, at least for the most part. The very first thing that they did when I walked in that door, after they took all my clothes and everything, and they went and took my daughter to go play in a playroom, is they walked over to the kitchen and they made me a cup of tea. And as soon as they made me the cup of tea, the woman looked at me and she's like, "Are you a smoker?" And at the time I was. And she walked over and she grabbed a cigarette that one of the women had made, and she put it at the table and she put the cup of tea, and she looked at me and she said, "Welcome to the first time you get to breathe freely." And to this day, anytime I'm overwhelmed or there's too much on my plate, the very first thing I do is I go grab myself a cup of tea and I sit down at the table and I get to breathe freely. So when you're thinking about what it is you're going to give to that organization, what you're giving is so that those women can breathe freely for the first time in a really long time.
Hockey was my life, and I was NHL potential. My father was really proud of me. We had like a nice, he had a room with all my trophies and stuff, like it was a shrine. I started doing drugs, and I lost a hockey career through that. And my dad never talked to me for like 10 years because he was really upset with me. I battled that for many years. 3 years ago, I ran into my wife here in Calgary. I moved to Calgary, and as soon as I set eyes on this woman, I just fell in love. It was amazing. And so she had an addiction problem as well. We struggled with that for a couple of years, and in the meantime, my wife got pregnant, which was a surprise. Well, actually, it wasn't a surprise because she wanted it and I wanted it really bad. But then everything fell apart. It was a very stressful time. Brenda's House works with Children's Cottage, which is a family program trying to get housing because we can't have a baby and live in a motel, right? We need stability. Anyways, they asked us to come in on Monday. So we got there on Monday and we were accepted. They had a room for us. And then when we got there, it was like, it was such a release, you know, like they showed us around, they showed us our room, nice big room, TV, you know, your own bathroom and everything. It was like, it was wonderful, and there's kids running around and other families and computer area so you could start looking for housing and stuff, and it's like a big family. Everybody's there to support each other as well with the kids. And without Brenda's House, my daughter wouldn't be with us right now. She would be in care. And thank God for Brenda's House. We brought our baby home 4 days ago. The support there is just amazing. You know, the money that you guys are investing to Brenda's House gave me my daughter. So you want to put a price on that. I mean, there's success there, you know, and you know, it gives an opportunity, a chance for people like us to be with our families and to be able to be successful.
When you give money to those organizations, it goes into those organizations. You know, you wanna find out what good it does. My life is amazing, and I came from there. You wanna know if it's gonna make a difference in somebody's life in 25 years from that time? There's nothing I've ever forgotten about those shelters. There's not a moment that I have ever forgotten, and I don't look at it sadly, and I don't, you know, you see these emotions, and it's not because I'm sad that I experienced that. It's because it was amazing. It was scary and overwhelming and amazing. So when you pull out your checkbook or you question how much you can give, remember that. Remember what you're actually giving to.